husky.
Good morning, it's another day, my friend. But soon night turns to moonlight, life goes It takes some time to say goodnight. You close your eyes to dream next thing tomorrow's here again.
It's a brand new day, never hold on to hate. Cause you was placed here to be great. Please take your place. All queens got a seat at my table. Cause without y'all, then the man ain't able. Melanated queen, connected to the universe. And so I gotta thank my mom for my birth. If hate is the curse, then love is the remedy. So I send you love no matter creed or identity. Until infinity, look at you like you kin to me. Even when we disagree, yo, you still kin to me. In other words, I can't bring you no trouble, can't bring you no beef, don't wanna see you deceased. Now if I'm coming at you, I'm coming with a business plan. Cause every day I'm on some, yo, let's get this money, man. Yeah, and that's my real plans. I rest my head at night, I wake up, I got another plan.
Good morning, it's another day, my friend. But soon the sunshine turns to moonlight, life goes It takes some time to say goodnight. You close your eyes to dream next thing tomorrow's here again.
It's a lot of high rappers tell me why we don't get money together, but we'll kill each other over whatever. Running down the freeway, we gonna own down. If Black Lives Matter, why we gonna own down? That's why they laugh and they think that we clowns. They hear what we say, but see how we get down. We gotta change that now, right now to be exact. Cause hurting that man's moms is not where it's at now. Old school, new school need to learn, yo. They put us in groups so they can make more dough. The young versus the old versus the young. Black versus white, you see the pattern, right? No unity, keep them all on some gutter-ish. This way they don't prosper and get rich. Yo, can't you see it's a trick? Just open your third eye and you'll see the full view of it. Now yo, what if the powers that be know that the real power lies within the people? That's us. And what if they using things like crayon colors, black and white, to separate the people? Hey, yo, you gotta wake up. Don't let them fool y'all. Spread love.
Good morning, it's another day, my friend. But soon the sunshine turns to moonlight, life goes It takes some time to say goodnight. You close your eyes to dream next thing tomorrow's. Good morning, it's another day, my friend. But soon the sunshine turns to moonlight, life goes It takes some time to say goodnight. You close your eyes to dream next thing tomorrow's here again. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Yeah, yeah, we're real strong people. Yeah, yeah, we can do anything. Yeah, yeah, we can't be worried about what they say. My brother, my sister, just believe in yourself. Believe in yourself. Believe in your skin. Believe in your hair. Believe in yourself. Believe in yourself. Believe in your talk. Believe in your walk. Believe in yourself. Believe in yourself. Believe in your skin. Believe in your hair. Believe in yourself. Believe in yourself. Believe in your talk. Believe in your walk. Believe in yourself.
Since everything starts with self, let me hold this mirror up and take a look at myself.
All right, it's that time. Y'all know what to do. Happy Tuesday morning. Let's go. Y'all drop a 1 in the chat if you can hear me. Drop a 1 in the chat if you can see me. We are about to get into it. Welcome back, y'all. It's good to be back in here. I know we missed, we had to reschedule yesterday to today, but it's good to see everybody in here. I see the ones in the chat too. So let me see how we looking up in here. Ooh-wee. Yeah. Looking all crispy and clean on the screen. Welcome, y'all. Welcome back to another YouTube live stream and another episode of the Music Morning Show. I'm your host, ClassE Beats of ClassEbeats.com. Today, we're going to do a little bit of catch up here. We've got some interesting news that is coming out. Doug Weinstein did an interview. He represents Yak Gotti in the YSL trial. And there's a couple points I wanted to point out and let you guys hear what he's talking about, saying there may be a possible mistrial. He still has faith in the mistrial. I don't know. We've talked about it here on the show. Y'all have to let me know what you think. Also, we're going to cover some Diddy news, and then we're going to go back and do a little bit of a rewind to last week and kind of remind you of where we're going to be once we start court on Wednesday, which is tomorrow. So before we get into it, let me say what's up to the people though. Hold on. Let me make sure the volume's good too. Shout out to everybody's in here. Y'all know what time it is. We've got, of course, the amazing, awesome Amy is in the building, in here every single day. She does not miss. Shout out to Amy, man. We've got McKinley's in the building. Rodney's in here. Michi, Walter, Athena. We've got Sharice. We've got Jean is in here. Justin's in the building. Shout out to Chandra. Who else is in here? We've got Turquoise Tiger. Oh man, that's a dope name. The Honorable Attorney Kel Bell is in the building as well. Says good morning, everyone. Anyone else evacuated because of Hurricane Milton? Thank goodness I have this as an escape. Yeah, hopefully y'all are getting up out of Tampa. From Tampa to Orlando, y'all get out of there. It's not worth it. It's not worth the risk. You get one life. Take care of it. All right. So hopefully everybody's doing well and able to get out. Andrea's in the building as well. Valencia's up in here. Jeremy's in the building. We've got Slim in here. Shout out to Slim, Wendy, Rashida, Nikki, Trent, Young Dreads. I see you. We've got, is it Dean? Hopefully I said that name right. We've got Chandra's in here. Here Comes Drama's in the building. Shout out to Here Comes Drama, became a new member yesterday. Thank you for being here. Cindy White's in the building. TM is up in here on Go TV. S Dot's in the building. Angela, VO. Oh my gosh, there's so many of y'all in here. Thank you all for being here. If you could do me one favor, it's the #1 way you can support the show. If you could like the video on your way in, not only does it help the show continue to grow, but it lets the YouTube algorithm know you're enjoying the show and it shares the video with more people. So we're going to go ahead and get right into it. I'm going to say what's up to a couple more of y'all, and then we'll get started with the video. We've got Mel is in here. Pray, Press, and Proceed Customs. Okay, I see y'all. Somebody said I froze. I shouldn't be frozen. I think we're looking good. We're still looking all crispy and clean. Let's see. We've got Jennifer is up in here too. Shout out to Jennifer. And then Katz is in here. We've got Granny Mo is in the building. And thank you to everybody who's subscribing as well. I see y'all over there. Okay, if y'all are ready to get into it, we're going to go ahead and get into it. I'm not going to waste any more time. So what we are getting into today, y'all check this out. So I don't know if you all had seen this or not, but I got to give a big shout out to Inside the Law. He has an amazing channel over there where he really breaks down from a legal and lawyer's perspective some of the things that are going in the YSL trial and how we can look at what's happening not only as a juror or from a layman's perspective, but also doing a good job of explaining everything that's happening and what we can look out for to prepare if you ever have to, God forbid, be in the system. But y'all give a big round of applause to Phil Holloway. He is the creator and the host over on Inside the Law. I will be linking a clip, or I will be linking this video in the description, as well as a place to where you all can go subscribe to his YouTube channel. So he had Doug Weinstein on his YouTube channel a few days ago, and he did a great job of kind of going through some of the things that happened in court. And Doug Weinstein gives some insight and a little bit more explanation to some of the things that we saw in real time, whether that be, you know, Miss Love getting cooked by Judge Whitaker, or we had Mr. Adams complaining about what's going on with Gaither and how she was conducting herself on the stand. So I'm not going to play the full interview because I really want y'all to go over to Inside the Law and support them over there. So again, the link to this full interview will be in the description, but there's actually 3 spots in this interview I want to point out and see what y'all think about. So let's start out with this section here. Mr. Weinstein is going to talk about how he sees this case going forward and what's happening in the case currently. Here we go.
Here, watch this.
A mistrial is appropriate, and I'm asking.
I can't figure out what it is. If it's disingenuous, if it is that, I don't want to malign the prosecutor standing in front of me right now, so I'm not going to say the
Honorable
possible
Weinstein,
things that
yes.
it could be, but it is baffling to me that somebody with the number of years of experience that you have, time after time after time,
Dang.
continues to seemingly purposefully hide the ball to the extent you possibly can for as long as you possibly can. And I really don't want to believe that it is purposeful, but honestly, after a certain number of times, you start to wonder how it could be anything but that, unless it is just that you are so unorganized that you are throwing this case together as you try it.
And we got to see this in real time last Monday. And most of us could not believe Judge Whitaker went at Miss Love like this. And even from the beginning of the day, we remember Judge Whitaker was going at Miss Love, telling her to get it together. She was asking questions. Judge Whitaker said, no, you can't ask that question, move on. So I don't know what happened last Monday, but Judge Whitaker was on one. It'll be interesting to see how she acts tomorrow. But let's see what Mr. Weinstein's had to say about that.
And I am sorry to say that, but
Jeez.
this case is being made much more difficult for everybody because of the haphazard way in which it is being presented.
Jeez.
I'm going to take a recess for a few minutes.
And she rage quit
I'll have
too.
a ruling when I get back.
Wow.
You know, every time it looks like Judge Whitaker is just completely fed up. I mean, things like, it's like her bark is way worse than her bite because she doesn't ever really do much about it. But look, that's just my observation. Doug, you were in the courtroom this week when that happened. Can you describe what the feeling in that courtroom was like? It must have been something surreal.
I'm sorry, Phil. I was distracted by something when you were playing some kind of clip just now. Maybe you need to play that clip again.
Doug, why is he taking shots at Judge Whitaker? Because y'all know on Monday and throughout this past week, she was clearly distracted during the trial. I think she was playing Candy Crush. I don't know what y'all think.
Oh, okay. So what was the feeling in the courtroom?
It's your favorite.
I've never seen anything quite like that before.
Me either.
I've seen something a little similar, but not to that level. I think that it's fair to say that even having watched and dealt with Miss Love for this long, some of us may have been uncomfortable. I was not uncomfortable with it. I was, and you know, look, seriously, you never want to see a fellow member of the bar, you know, dressed down like that.
Come on, Doug Weinstein. I get lawyers having respect for each other. And, you know, personally, I don't have any issues against Miss Love. I've met her in person. At the time I met her, she was doing a great job with with everything that we were working on at the time. So I don't have an issue with her personally. When it comes to this trial specifically, though, I mean, let's just be real. She gets everything that she deserves at this point. She's had chance after chance, time after time. You heard Brian Steele filed motions to get them removed. Westmoreland, Keith Adams, all saying, hey, Judge, Miss Love has been doing this throughout the entire trial. I mean, respect is fine, but sometimes you just got to go.
You know, dressed down like that. It's in general. It tends to be very uncomfortable. It was not uncomfortable for me because I had been waiting for a judge to say that to Miss Love for close to 2 years. Glanville lost his temper at times, but it wasn't the
He did.
same type of a coherent dressing down that was specific to the actions that Miss Love had done, as Judge Whitaker did on that day. And I do think, while we didn't get the mistrial we asked for, and that I think we probably deserved, and have deserved on multiple occasions, it did, at least in the very short term, marginally change the behavior of Miss Love a little bit. But I don't, as I said on Twitter earlier today, we have been watching Miss Love for almost 2 years. So we're at the level that we're at, and everyone watching is at the level that they're at. Judge Whitaker only came in, in July, I guess, at some point. So she's only had to watch
Sure.
a few months of it, and we see where she's at now. I don't know that Miss Love is going to be able to change her behavior to any degree. And I think Judge Whitaker is just over it. And I know everyone watching wants Judge Whitaker to just take off Miss Love's head right now, call a mistrial with prejudice, and send us all home. And I would love that too.
I'll let him finish.
All I'm asking is that, folks, the groundwork is laid. Judge Whitaker sees what's going on. I think that the tiger can change its stripes, and we're going to get there.
Man, if the case for mistrial were a house and the foundation was everything building up to this point, I mean, the foundation of this house would be able to withstand any hurricane that's coming through here, because we've had so many times where Miss Love has not done her job, not done what she's supposed to do. And we even see, Doug Weinstein's going to mention this later, we even see with a lot of her body language as she's sitting right next to the jury, y'all see her leaning back in her chair, making faces, rolling her eyes, being unprofessional. I mean, and that's not even counting the 2 ex parte meetings that took place before Judge Whitaker even got there, and Miss Love's part in those. So I get Doug being patient, and he knows and understands the process more than I do, and maybe a lot of us do. But at this point, what else has Judge Whitaker needed? We've seen evidence after evidence, time after time, motion after motion. We're up to 47, I believe, 47 motions for mistrial at this point. I mean, come on, man.
All right. So Doug is optimistic that we're making steps in the right direction.
I don't know.
Rachel,
Y'all let me know what
I
you
know
think.
that you probably have this video just playing on all the screens in your life all the time. Just
shout out to Rachel.
Just on replay, because I know that it warms your heart to see that. So do you think we're headed towards eventually a mistrial, Rachel?
I think we're headed towards a mistrial. And I also agree that Judge Whitaker is doing her best with the situation to try to remain fair and impartial, while also, she laid into Miss Love in ways I've never seen a judge lay into her. It felt good. It felt validating. And it was just the truth. I mean, what's interesting is as a criminal defense attorney, I mean, I've never been talked to that way by a judge. However, I feel like judges are very comfortable talking to defense attorneys that way, more often than they are prosecutors. So she even kind of apologizes to Miss Love. I know that they were colleagues in the same office. They both worked for the Fulton DA's office under Paul Howard.
Interesting.
So they've known each other quite some time. And from one former prosecutor to a current prosecutor, yeah, I mean, that should feel like crap to Adrienne. I don't think that she really cares what anybody thinks about her. I mean, she really doesn't seem to have any shame whatsoever. But no, it felt good. Do I think there's going to be a mistrial? No, I do think that Judge Whitaker is expecting and believes that the jurors, I can't see the jurors. So when I come in that courtroom, I don't see the jurors, but I have to believe that she is watching the jurors and sees their disgust in Miss Love. I'm sure we'll get to Detective or whatever, Sergeant Gaither later, but some of the things that have been brought to the court's attention regarding just how unprofessional Adrienne and Sergeant Gaither have been. I mean, she basically says, let them be that way in front of the jury and let the jury handle it. As Phil said, I'm a little bit uncomfortable, relying on the jury to get it right. And so I'm kind of like, it's got to be a little bit harder hitting than that. But I do think that the foundation is being laid, that this bad faith, it will not change from Adrian. She can pretend to be nice for a half a day and then the mask slips again. So as soon as that happens, the judge has laid the foundation on the record to say how many more times can this happen if it's not bad faith. And so we still have a long way to go.
Yeah.
Man, and that's tough to hear, Rachel. And a lot of y'all don't know Rachel Kaufman. She is an attorney right here in Fulton County, and she actually has several cases that she's working on that are involving some of the other attorneys who are in the YSL trial. But to hear her say we have a long way to go, it's tough. Because again, we're looking at it as non-lawyers, as people who are just studying and trying to understand the law. And from what we've seen, like a lot of the things that the jury's being told to disregard, whether that's something Miss Love said, a question that she asked, it's going to be hard for them not to be tainted in certain ways, and especially against the defense and against a lot of the defendants. So I don't know. Y'all will have to let me know what you think. I asked the poll in the chat if y'all think Judge Whitaker is going to grant a mistrial. I'm not as confident as Doug Weinstein. It sounds like Rachel as well is a little bit like, we got a long way to go, but we'll see. Y'all have to let me know. I want to read some of the comments too before we get to the next segment of this interview. Shout out to everybody who's in the building as well. I see y'all showing love in the chat. Shout out to Sean P up in here. You know what time it is. CB gang for life. I see you in there, Sean. Who else do we have in the building? Here Comes Drama is in here. Says no typical layperson is going to understand 14 special instructions, etc. Wild. Yeah, not to mention, I mean, we're still forgetting all of the motions that Judge Glanville granted in the past. So Judge Whitaker probably doesn't even know what everything that the jury's been told, which is crazy. Y'all are saying the feed is skipping? Interesting. Are you hearing a skip on the audio or which part? Y'all give me a second. I'll double check it and make sure we're good. Hold on.
We can't be worried about what they say. My brother, my sister, just believe in yourself. Believe in your skin. Believe in your health. Believe in yourself. Believe in your talk. Believe in your walk. Believe in yourself. Believe in your skin. Believe in your health. Believe in yourself. Believe in your talk. Believe in your walk. Believe in yourself.
Since everything starts with self, let me hold this mirror up and take a look at myself. Before I judge you, I gotta check myself. And I come to find out that that's good for my health, right? Change your mind and watch the whole body follow. So you won't hear me talking about I'm hitting you with hollows. I can't do it, got plans for tomorrow. And I ain't trying to bring my seeds no type of sorrow. Wait, cause fake rappers do fake-ish. I mean, most the basic get replaced quick. I'll never sacrifice my soul. Truth is, so I might never get 1 million records sold. But that's cool, cause I'm good with the creator. He nurtured my thoughts, so I present you with verbal flavor. You never listen to what no haters say. We pray for them, but we gon' move it this way. We moving forward, y'all.
Okay, so y'all are saying that the audio is skipping. I heard it a little bit on my phone. Let's see. Becky's saying I heard it on my TV. Okay. Granny says I'm watching on my TV. Donna says I think it's an iPhone issue. I'm listening to TV and it doesn't skip, but my iPhone's skipping. Interesting. And y'all are saying it is skipping. It's not the stream. There's a provider problem. Oh, okay. It might be a Verizon thing. I wouldn't be surprised. Y'all are saying it's YouTube. The viewer just has to rewind a couple seconds and the skipping will stop. Okay. Yeah, it might be. We'll just keep pushing through, y'all. iPad hasn't skipped once. Okay. Appreciate y'all being here. What are y'all saying? Chris Armstrong is in the building. Says, ClassE, I'm new to this trial. Professor Nez. I keep hearing the name Professor Nez. I'll have to check him out. Says Professor Nez had mentioned it, and I saw you on my YouTube feed. Oh man, appreciate you being here. Holy crap, I'm no attorney, but the incompetence of Miss Love is epic. That is an understatement. And in this trial, she's just seemed like she's had a total disregard for how to conduct herself. I mean, everything's been laid out. Obviously, yes, you have the burden of proof and there's more that you have to go through, but it still seems like the path would be pretty clear to presenting this case. And she hasn't been prepared. As Judge Glanville said to Brian Steele, she's been unprepared, unprofessional, and I'm not seeing where the holdup is, honestly. Okay, so y'all are saying you don't hear a skip now, but yeah, shout out to Chris Armstrong. Thank you for being here. Becky's in the building too. Appreciate y'all. Shout out to Free Thuggas up in here. Said, so when does YSL trial resume? We'll be back tomorrow morning. Yep, we'll be back tomorrow morning, bright and early. I believe court's supposed to start at 9. We'll be here at 9:30 though. Same time tomorrow morning. Let's go ahead and get back into this interview though, because we've got a couple more points that I thought were interesting from the Honorable Doug Weinstein, and Rachel too. Rachel makes some great points. I need to try and get Rachel up here sometime. I think she would stop by the show. But check this out. So someone in their super chats asked a great question about what can Whitaker actually do about Miss Love's behavior. And they said, does she have the power to remove Love? Check out what Mr. Weinstein says here.
Prosecutors already?
There was an attempt to disqualify them because they're fact witnesses to certain things that have occurred. And so I know that Brian Steele had tried to disqualify them because of their being fact witnesses, because they are on our witness list. The judge ruled against Brian. It's very difficult to do. It is possible, but there are only certain grounds that you can do it on. And so far, the judge has not found that we have established any of those grounds. I mean, what do you think, Rachel?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a very rare situation where a judge would have the power to remove the prosecutor from the case unless there was unless she is a witness, which in some ways, I mean, Adrian is dabbling on becoming a witness with the statements that are coming out of her mouth and the way that she's interacting with witnesses and the ex parte situation from a while back. I mean, it's questionable. She could hold her in contempt.
I mean, yeah. I mean, she's made quite a number of proffers where she's basically been a fact witness in front of the judge, where usually you would have an investigator there at the time, and the investigator would testify as to what occurred. And she has not consistently done that. So who knows what, we never know what next week will bring in this case.
No, that's the fun of it. I guess it's pretty boring, except for, just these random, I guess we're going to talk about Gaither's file and everything. I mean, it's just, you cannot make this stuff up, folks. You cannot every week. And so when the judge talks about, she doesn't know if Adrian's just super disorganized or if it's in bad faith, I think we all know what it is.
We do. I agree.
Adrian has a history of trying to manipulate the discovery statute, which is supposed to be turning over everything 10 days before trial. She likes to dump discovery on attorneys. And she's done it to me throughout a trial, at the beginning of a trial, things that she waits until the last minute and then judges let her get away with it. Something that the judge could do is exclude stuff that's new. I think that's a way to handle some of Adrian's bad behavior. But again, this is no accident. I don't think that it's a matter of her being disorganized. I think it's a matter of her attempting to strategically screw the defense when they're preparing for one thing, and then she hands you a bunch of discovery or points you in a different direction. She's trying to throw you off your game. She'll drive a person crazy.
Yeah.
Doing that for years.
Yeah, and it's interesting that Rachel makes that point, because I just dropped the video yesterday or last night, and it's a video about Miss Love and her behavior throughout the trial. If y'all haven't watched it, make sure you go check it out. It's pretty funny. But there's several instances, and the one that really sticks out to me was where Judge Whitaker was trying to find out why Miss Love hadn't given the defense a certain piece of evidence. And she asked Miss Love, she said, is there anything else that you know of that you haven't given to the defense that they need, or that you have and it just may have gotten lost? And Miss Love, excuse me, Miss Love stands there for what seems like a minute, just not saying anything. And then Judge Whitaker kind of gives her a break and says, okay, tell you what, why don't you take until lunch and figure out if there's anything else that you want to give the defense, right? Fast forward a couple weeks later, what happened? Love was withholding evidence again. And that was the day you saw Judge Whitaker kind of pop off on her. So when it comes to the mistrial, when it comes to her being held accountable, I don't know where we go from this, because Judge Whitaker seems like she's doing everything she can, not only to make sure that everything moves along, but that the jury has an opportunity to give a verdict. But Weinstein says that we're building the foundation. The foundation might not be finished, might not be laid until we've already have a verdict, which will be interesting. But if this were to go to appeal, I want to ask y'all that too. What do you think they would say in light of everything that we've seen so far? Let me know.
And if you watched earlier this week, and I think, Rachel, you may or may not have seen this, but they dumped a whole slew of crime scene photos over on us late, a few days before Monday of this past week. And they had not been provided before in discovery. Mr. Adkins acknowledged in an email to me that they had not been previously provided, and the judge excluded those. So she is beginning to act on excluding late discovery, which is something that Judge Glanville never did. And I've been complaining about this. It's one of my main functions in that courtroom is to complain about late discovery.
It's crazy.
That's true.
And I'm really glad that she's doing that, because that's at least holding the state to some burden that they are supposed to have. I mean, usually she does this because she's gotten away with it for so long. In a week-long trial, you've been specially set for trial for 2 years. Your client's sitting in jail, and she hands you something the day before trial. What are you going to do? Ask for a continuance? I mean, she puts attorneys in really, really bad situations. I have a case coming up. I'm testifying in a case where my client got convicted. This was 2017. Detective Dennis was involved in this case. Adrian Love was involved in this case.
Dang.
And they pulled similar stuff, or last minute they're turning stuff over. They're changing witness testimony. They're promising the witness they're going to get them things, not telling the defense, just really sick stuff. And it's happening all over again. And it's happening. I think the fact that this trial is taking so long is really helping everyone see the truth about who Adrian is. You can kind of get away with it in a week-long trial, but no longer, babe.
Yep. And I don't think she's going to stop, because Judge Whitaker is bound and determined to keep things moving forward. I have a couple of comments I want to read from y'all too. Shout out to everybody who sent in the super chats. Oh my gosh. We've got Touche up in here, dropped the 5 bomb, said, not super hopeful, but I think it's possible that Love could still do something so egregious they can't deny it anymore. No, listen. I mean, as far as her getting removed, maybe there's something that she could do to get removed. But Judge Whitaker stated, even when she denied Brian Steele's motion to have Adrian Love and Miss Hilton removed, Judge Whitaker said in her response, listen, I get and I understand that these things have taken place. We're going to have Hilton and Love watch some training videos so they don't do this stuff again. But when it comes to removing prosecutors from a trial, and especially a trial of this magnitude, she said it's going to take a ridiculous circumstance for that to happen, extenuating circumstances. So I don't see that happening. And I mentioned this before, unless Miss Hilton jumps across the table and starts choking out a witness. I mean, that's the only way I could possibly see one of them getting removed. But even then, I don't think there would be a mistrial. Floyd's in the building, dropped a 2 bomb. He said, Love is giving is giving fire me. Notice me. Shout out to Floyd, the real deal Neil. She's not going anywhere. She does a lot. I know it doesn't look like from this case that she's doing her job, but she still has a lot of things going on. I don't think Fannie's going to get rid of her anytime soon. And shout out to Millie in the building with her 5th super chat, dropping the 5 bomb, says, loves a spoiled child who's used to getting her way. Now there's a step parent that acts like she wants to put her foot down to save face. Dang. I mean, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. And it's funny to watch her, even when she's being chastised by Judge Whitaker, just kind of sit there, take the chastising, take the spanking, and then just keep moving forward. I don't see it changing her behavior. And Rachel pointed that out multiple times. Yeah, Judge Whitaker, she's going to have to do something. It'll be interesting to see how she handles a lot of these mistrials that are being moved forward, because at some point we've got to talk about the historic amount of motions for mistrials that have been brought by the defense in this case, and rightfully so. We've read through and covered a bunch of them. When is Judge Whitaker going to acknowledge them and not just so flippantly say, okay, well, no mistrial, even though evidence was being hidden, even though Love is over there making faces, even though this, even though that. So it'll be interesting to see. Also, shout out to Levita in the building. 1 month says, ClassE, do you really believe Love will get her far with Fannie? Let me see. Do you really believe Love will get her far with Fannie if she loses the case? Are you saying, do I think she'll get fired? That might be a typo. Let me try and find what Lavisa said. If you're saying if Fannie gets back in office, I don't think Love is going anywhere. And okay, she corrected. She said, do you think Love will get far if she loses this case? Oh yeah, I mean, this is Fulton County. Judge Whitaker, the chief judge. Yeah, think about this, y'all. And I think this is how we should frame our entire conversations about removing people and people not having jobs moving forward, right? The chief judge in Fulton County was recused from this trial. Think about that for a second, right? Judge Glanville. I mean, he's not everybody's boss, but he's the highest judge in Fulton County, got removed from this trial. And guess what he was doing the next week? Presiding over more trials, taking comfort breaks, taking his dog out to the bathroom. So think about that for a second. If that guy, the guy that's at the top, and y'all know what they say about problems, the guy that's at the top, the chief judge, was recused from the entire trial. The judge that recused him even had his back and gave him some grace and said, hey, you know, Judge Glanville, maybe he messed up a little bit, but I think if this trial were to go forward, he would continue to do a good job. And the only reason I'm removing him is because of how it looks to the public. So we got to let him go. Then not only that, you've got Fannie Willis herself, who is the district attorney. And she's got a lot going on too. So Miss Love, I mean, yeah, she's unprepared. Yeah, she's not giving over all the evidence to the defense, but I mean, that's a drop in the bucket of, I don't want to say corruption, but of misconduct that's been going on throughout this trial and throughout Fulton County in general. So no, Adrienne Love isn't going anywhere. And from what I've seen from her before this trial, she is very good at her job. It's just right now she's fumbling the bag. So I don't know. Shout out to Amy for reminding y'all to like the video. If y'all could take a second and like the video. We have over 3,000 people watching. Oh my gosh. Dang, thank y'all for being here. And over half of you would like the video. Thank y'all so much. That really is the #1 way you can support the show. And of course, thank you to everybody who sends in super chats too. I'll be reading those throughout the show. Donna says, say it, ClassE. Love is corrupt. I mean, I guess I just said it. So y'all can clip it and send it to her. Listen, I'm in Fulton County, okay? I'm not trying to get caught up out here. All right, we've got one more clip from this interview, and then we're gonna move on to the next segment. I think y'all are gonna really enjoy this one. Let me go back here. All right, check it out. So Doug Weinstein is responding to what happened after Detective Gaither was on the stand and was making the comments like, "This is horrible. This dude, horrible," and grunting and groaning and sounding like she's Darth Vader and needed a breathing treatment. Well, let's check this out. Hear what he has to say.
As I've asked before, and as they have been told before, to be mindful of the things that they say and the fact that it can be picked up by the jury.
All right, guys, what's going on here?
I heard it.
I heard it too.
We all heard what she said.
And guess what? If I were in that courtroom, I'd be probably equally guilty of muttering things that ended up on the record, because you know what? It's like, I mean, how do you listen to this stuff all day? You've got this Sergeant Gaither back on the stand. And under her breath, although she is answering questions in probably the most like sluggish, obnoxious way, just as bad as any of the hostile
Dang, Rachel.
deemed hostile, and then had to be taken to jail. I mean, she's no and yes. And she's under the microphone, kind of under her breath, but quite clearly she's saying things like, "That's like she's horrible. She feels horrible. Next shard, this is ridiculous." She's just saying things under her breath that are completely bizarre and definitely caught on the record. I don't know how the judge did not hear it. I don't know if it's just if the mic is different for the mic in the courtroom versus the mic that they use to air the live feed, but
it's the same.
It was pretty insane. And then sometimes I couldn't tell if it was her or Adrian.
Well, that's probably the case, and I've got some of that sound, and I'm going to play it in just a minute. But Doug, let's give some context here. Who is this witness? Who is Detective or Sergeant Gaither? And what's her role
Sergeant
in this
Gaither
trial?
So retired Sergeant Gaither did a lot of work. I don't want to say, maybe they were partners, did a lot of work with Detective Dennis. They investigated a lot of the crimes, the incidents that occurred on or around the time of the shooting of Donovan Thomas. They were not the lead investigator in the Donovan Thomas murder, but they investigated a lot of other crimes. And they also, I think the main reason that she's there is that she was in the interviews of a number of witnesses and defendants in the present case. So that's why she's on the stand. And she has been difficult every time she's been on the stand. So to answer your question about could you hear it in the courtroom, I mean, I'm back in the corner now. I couldn't hear it in the courtroom. I know it came over the live stream because my Twitter blew up, my direct messages blew up. I could see people commenting on it in the chat. And while I don't know this, I imagine the jurors heard it. Of course, we've got two different issues, so let's separate them. One, the mutterings of Detective Gaither, which I imagine the jury heard. The other is the facial expressions and actions of Miss Love over there at the prosecutor's table. And Keith Adams was complaining about both. And as Keith said, we've complained about Miss Love's actions, faces, gestures,
behavior,
throwing her body around. We've complained about that before with Judge Glanville. Hasn't changed anything. At this point, I imagine it does nothing but help us. I don't think it's serving her well to behave that way. But by the same token, she is in a privileged position in that courtroom. She is right up against the jury. And I think, as I've said on your show before, sociologists have shown that proximity breeds affinity.
It does.
And some degree of affection. And so she has benefited from that. But I think it can also backfire where if you do things that are unlikable, and disrespectful, they see that as well. So maybe Judge Whitaker was right in that she doesn't think that type of behavior serves them.
All right, well, we're gonna come back to. We're not going away, but I want to.
Yeah, that was an interesting point by Doug too, because the jury has been told multiple times throughout this trial to disregard things. We use the term forget. That's essentially what's being said, but disregard is different than forgetting. But how do you forget people over and over coming to the stand? You've got the district attorney over there making faces and that biasing them against the defense. I don't know how they would forget that. I don't know how they would not be able to look at that, but I don't know. It's just one of those things that's really frustrating to see, because we really just want a fair trial. We want these defendants to have a fair trial. We want to see what actually the prosecution is saying was done and what's happening. And we just haven't been able to see that so far because we've got all these antics. And it makes me think, especially if we're looking at this as a juror, maybe they don't have a case, because we're not seeing much, which we're actually going to go through some more of the evidence a little bit later from an FBI agent that they brought in last week. And we didn't review that, but I want to go through it, especially leading into tomorrow, because that's kind of where we're going to pick up at. But y'all have to let me know what you think. What's going to happen in this trial? Is Judge Whitaker possibly going to grant a mistrial this week? Doug Weinstein saying the foundation's been laid. I want to see what y'all are saying in the chat. And shout out to everybody who's in here again. I got to sneeze. Shout out to all 3,300 of y'all. Good Lord. And oh yeah, shout out to Paul Printed Heart. Look at that puppy in that one, man. Look at that puppy in the profile picture. We love our dogs over here. I saw Samson here earlier, has a beautiful dog. Shout out to Ray. Says, why are they off again? There were some holidays. And I think we're gonna have some non-jury days coming up too. So it'll be a lot of administrative stuff. They'll be going through a lot of evidence, a lot of motions. So y'all get ready for that too. Nomad says, ClassE, they got a court board, pictures, and proof, but they have no red string. Dang, so they got all the pictures up there and they're just looking like, okay, him, no. Okay, but maybe the McDonald's and the phone, no. Yeah, I don't know. Let's just put Thug up there and see what happens. And we keep talking about this too. Where is Young Thug in all of this? All we know is that some guys did some stuff. And Young Thug was going to Miami. And the dude said, hey, Thug, I might need you to cover for me for a minute. Can I come over to the house? He said, yeah, sure. You want to come to Miami? Yeah, let's go to Miami. I mean, that's what I'm hearing as a juror so far. You've got Little Woody looking like he may have been more involved than we know. You've got Monk Tunk and other guys saying, yeah, I was out here running the streets and selling drugs, but I didn't give any money to Thug. And Thug, I mean, he knew I was selling drugs, but he wasn't like, yeah, let's get this thing going. Where's the case? Exactly. And shout out to Phenomenal RN says, a Rico with no financial records? It's crazy. And we saw yesterday, who was it? Max Shard, or not yesterday. We saw last week, Max Shard asking Detective Gaither about that. When you took over this investigation, did you look at their financial records? What did Gaither say? I had no reason to. Brian Steele asks, did you look at Young Thug's financial records? I had no reason to. Like, what are we doing here? What did you actually do? It's crazy. Charles is in here, says, when does court resume? Court will be back tomorrow. And then we've got a couple of non-jury days we're going to get into. Young said, it's horrible. Yeah, just like Gaither said. Oh my gosh. Phenomenal RN says they didn't even get his financial records. How in the world? Yeah, I don't know why they didn't look at his financial records either. Shout out to Eugenia in the building. Says, good morning, ClassE in chat. Good to see y'all here. And Phenomenal RN also says, what makes you wonder, do they know what Rico means? And they're really not showing how Thug organized everything. what they're trying to show is that he started this group of guys that's allegedly a gang called YSL. And then Thug had some beef with somebody, and then he didn't tell them to go do anything, but one of the guys in his crew went out and killed Donovan Thomas, and Thug is the reason why Donovan Thomas was killed, because they were trying to further the name of YSL. That's really their case in summary. But again, they haven't shown that. All the guys that came up there said, yeah, you know, I might have had something to do with this. I did some things, but Thug didn't know about it. And YSL is not a gang. It's a record label. Time after time after time. Monk, Quindarius Zachary, Lil Woody. YSL is not a gang. And then, of course, we've got the police. Detective Gaither saying that, oh, well, I'm a gang expert and they were a gang. Just because you have some drugs and a couple of guns doesn't make you a gang. Adrian Love is not good at her job. She is just corrupt with the help of judges. God dang. Rico is crossing the border illegally. Oh, let's not get into that. Y'all gonna make Kamala Harris mad. Shout out to Touche with the 5-bomb, says, with the exception of, I don't recall, I'm not convinced the jury will remember much of what has said. I think you meant to say what anyone has said. Okay, I just can't read. Only the impressions they left. Yeah, and the impressions are everything. And you know, they hear the defense objecting. They see Doug Weinstein made a great point on this. They see how Miss Love is interacting. They see her making faces. And he said, I look at the jury when she's doing some of these things, and he said they are not feeling what Miss Love has got going on. So again, the people on the jury, they're just like y'all. They're just like me. They're looking at this from a very basic lens. And a lot of the stuff we're seeing and the way the cases has been presented by the prosecution is just, it's not enough. We keep asking the question, where's Thug? Y'all looking for Rico? We got to look for young Thug, because he's just, oh, Jeffrey's been sitting over there chilling. I haven't heard anybody talk about him other than him having a record label, and then the guys in the record label doing some reckless stuff. So I don't know. Let me see what I'm going to let y'all decide. Where do we go next? I have a couple of topics that I wanted to get into. One was Diddy. And then the other topic would just be looking at that last interview that was done during the YSL trial last week. And good morning to everybody who's just joining us too. So did y'all want to go through the Diddy topic and hear what Jaguar Wright is talking about? Or did you want to go back and look at YSL? Y'all let me know what you think. I'm gonna read a couple more comments while y'all are deciding. The World's End is it here, says Steven makes a great point. Well, let's go back and see what Steven said. Hopefully I can find his comment. Shout out to Steven. I don't see a Steven. Maybe he's talking about, oh, Steven says trying to pull a Rico from Instagram pics. Yeah, that's true. And the World's End says, you make a great point. I'm sure it's a mix of both. Jeffrey seems to be guilty of caring and trying to get his friends on a better path. They didn't make that choice for themselves. And you heard Little Woody even saying, yeah, Young Thug showed me a better life. After that, I had a daughter. Things started to change. I turned to God and things got a lot better. So, and he's helped out a lot of people too. He was giving people jobs, helping them with security, letting them travel. And it's unfortunate. It looks like he beefed with the wrong people and ended up being surrounded by the wrong people too. Lois says Detective Gaither is not an expert at anything other than ducking work, responsibilities, being combative, and disrespecting the microphone. Not to mention, she's guilty of not using her lungs to full capacity either. She was struggling up there. Y'all are saying Diddy, YSL, Diddy, YSL, Diddy. Y'all said no Diddy. It seems pretty balanced. YSL, Diddy is federal. We can't watch the case. Okay, so we'll go with YSL first, and then to end the show, I'll cover a little bit what's going on with Diddy over there. Y'all really aren't feeling Diddy? Just
Can't
is
just
it?
answer that.
Let me
put all
ask
of that in
y'all.
one-
Let me ask y'all a question. If there were coverage of the Diddy trial, would y'all want to see that, or is it mainly because you don't want to watch it mainly because it's no coverage, or because of everything that's happened? I'd be interested to see what y'all think. All right, here we go. So we're gonna do a little bit of a refresher of what happened at the end of trial last week, and then we'll skip ahead and get into this last witness, which was a FBI agent, talking about how they processed some of the phone calls. Here we go. And then we'll get into Diddy a little bit later. It's federal, won't be any video. Yeah, correct. Just the girl that her dog said, no, I won't watch Diddy. I hope nobody's watching Diddy at this point. So what we're getting into here is Brian Steele was the last one to cross-examine Gaither. So we're just going to watch a little bit of this to remind y'all of what was going down. And then we'll skip to the end.
Thank you, Mr. Steele.
May I?
Yes, thank you.
No, thank you. Thank you, Ms. Winfrey.
That's crazy, Amy.
I'd like to ask you your background, and if I'm getting too far afield, just say it's beyond your knowledge, okay? When you were doing policing and you'd obtain surveillance video images from, let's say, a business or a house, okay? I want you to focus on that. I heard you say today that you did that for the vault, the studio vault, when you watched the 10 cars go. You know what I'm talking about?
I didn't say I did it. I said investigator Dennis did.
Okay, you didn't see you didn't view the...
I viewed it, yes.
Okay. Now, in 2015, that's the date I'm focused on, were there different types of memorializing or capturing of the images, whereby some business can hold the data or the images for 30 days, some would hold them for a year, some 15 days? Would it just depend on the particular product that they used?
I'm not aware of any, I don't have any technological background or things to obtain video to know how long a particular system holds information.
Okay, how about this? From your experience, though, could you get a video, let's say that you were investigating something that happened a month ago? Would you go to the scene where there may be a video camera and see whether it holds the 30 days or more? Have you been able to capture that type of distance, that type of time?
I've investigated cases where sometimes it holds it for 30 days, sometimes 3 days, sometimes a year. It's all dependent on that particular system or if we're talking about a specific investigation.
And when the system, we're talking about hold the images, at some point, because of storage, and if you don't know, just say I don't know, the storage, sometimes some images fall off. It's too old to keep on the storage. Is that your experience?
I'm not an expert in technological video expert extraction, so I don't.
See, and this is where she was doing too much. Like, he didn't ask you if you were an expert. He said in your experience. Like, come on, man. Just answer the question. And I agree. Gaither should have, shout out to Slim, Gaither should have been held in contempt. She was doing way too much, and Paige paid no attention. She was checked out by this point. And answering the questions this way is just super hostile.
System, or if we're talking about a specific investigation.
And when the system, we're talking about hold the images, at some point, because of storage, and if you don't know, just say I don't know, the storage, sometimes some images fall off. It's too old to keep on the storage. Is that your experience?
I'm not an expert in technological video expert extraction, so I can't answer that.
Let's not talk just from your experience. Is there a date where it just can't hold? The people tell you, well, you find out it's too old, the data won't hold. That's what I'm asking you.
Objection, foundation.
I'm asking on her experiences.
Overruled. We know that was overruled, but still,
if you
come
ask
on.
me if video has been overwritten, is that what
Sure.
Basically what you're asking me? Yes,
think so.
I've heard of that, yes.
I think so. Okay. Have you ever dealt with a system that after, let's say, I'm using an example, 2 weeks, all the data is overwritten?
Objection, vague in relevance as to a system.
Overruled.
When you mean dealt with
She
the
just doesn't
system,
want
what
him
do
to
you
ask
mean?
any questions.
When you're investigating, or your own system, but have experienced that all the data is gone, 2 weeks from that day, it's all gone, then it just starts brand new? Or is it more of a rolling system?
I'm not sure what you're asking.
Let me ask a better way.
You asked it just fine,
I'm just
Brian.
using dates, okay? January 1, 2015, I'll use 15. There's a business, McDonald's.
Okay.
It holds the image, I'm making all this up, holds the image for 2 weeks, January 14th, 2015, okay?
Okay.
Have you ever had experience where on the midnight going into January 15th, 2015, everything for the last 2 weeks, in my example, from January 1st forward to January 14th at 11:59 is wiped out and we start anew? Or is it that certain parts of the system and they keep rolling over? It just makes room and you keep adding the days, if you know.
I've been told on occasions, you know, a system like I just stated, if it's longer than their saving period or cloud period, it'll overwrite itself. It won't save it. I've been told that. If that's
Give
what
me
you,
1 second.
Okay.
if I'm answering your questions.
Okay, no, that's fine. All right. Let's go back to the surveillance I just asked you about McDonald's. You and Detective Dennis interview Kenneth Copeland, and I'm just focused on the last time, or one of the last times, June 10th, 2015. Okay?
Okay.
I know Detective Thorpe is there, and ATF agents, but from that interview, you and Detective Dennis go down to the McDonald's to inquire about their surveillance. You remember that?
Yes, sir.
All right. And you got the number and the name of the person who, and you gave it to Detective Thorpe, the homicide detective on this case, to follow up.
Yes, sir.
Were you ever told by Detective Thorpe that he had already gone to the McDonald's on or about the 11th or 12th of January 2015 to look at that video?
Objection, that calls for hearsay and relevance as to whether or not Detective Thorpe ever told her that.
They're working the
He
case?
testified, right?
Yes.
Overruled.
I was not told.
Okay. Now, you were asked about truly humble under God. You remember those questions earlier today? Or that question earlier today?
Yes, sir.
Tell the jurors and tell us where, in all of your work on this case involving Mr. Williams, and any time, where you ever had an interview, a conversation where you asked, or someone in your presence asked, or someone told you what THUG stands for?
There's never been a question asked of me.
With regards to the repost, and if you need to see it, please just tell me. I just have to refresh my
You said the
memory.
what?
Repost. And if you need to see it, we're going to show it to you. January 26, 2015. Mr. Garlington, you helped the jurors see it previously. It starts out with Mr. Williams. I'm not quoting. I think it is a quote, but I don't want to quote. I don't get it. People lie to their kids, lie to their mothers, lie to their... You know, okay. Do you have the number that is? Kokomo, do you have this? Do you have this? I need the number. You want to have one moment?
Sure.
Sorry, y'all. I was muted. I'm gonna skip ahead real quick.
2015 interview. It's at pages. I have.
Y'all hear Darth Vader? Yeah, my mic was off. My bad. She breathing hard. Dang.
526. 526.
She sounds like Babe from the Dark Knight Rises. Jeez. What are Miss Love and Hilton talking about?
I have one moment. Mr. Kokomo is pulling it up.
Jeez, like, come on, man. Dang. Good God.
O.G. Bentley or Kelvin Treadwell's car to Jeffrey Williams' Sky House condo. Do you remember that?
I don't remember him stating.
She
he
got
was
her
following
lungs on
someone.
T-Boo.
Okay.
That's crazy. Yeah, it's like the volume goes up and up and up.
Mr. Kokomo, can I break your thought?
It's crazy.
This dude.
Mr.
You heard
Kokomo,
her? She said, this dude.
Can I break your thought? Your Honor, this is already in evidence. It states 278YE as in Aaron.
Sorry,
And this
Gaither.
is Jeffrey Williams 240II. And this is 9:58:14
Hey,
a.m. to 9:58:46.
we're not
a.m.
getting a mistrial. She's still breathing on the mic. Thank y'all for liking the video too.
240II.
She said, this dude. Rachel said there was one moment Love manhandled Hilton's arm again. I think it was when the under the breath remarks happened and Hilton said something to Love about it. I think Hilton heard it. I mean, Black Astrology Media says it's going to be granted.
Nah, they told us to follow them. Okay, so y'all follow them. Yeah, but when you told me, hell no, I ain't gonna follow them. But I had to get get out the cover. I'm trying to keep these, I see what the hell going on. Boom. So we followed them to the
So what is testimony?
They stayed downtown on the Sky House. You heard that? I followed them down there. So I followed them down there. I see the door to get out. So now I got covered.
Were you able to understand that?
Yeah, I remember this in the video.
Okay. And is it accurate to say, I'm not saying it's accurate in life, but is it accurate to say Mr. Copeland told you that he was following Mr. O.G. Bentley's car to the Sky House where Jeffrey Williams lives?
He said them. I don't remember him saying O.G. Bentley or Bentley's name.
Okay. Let's do this one then. It might put in context. Your Honor, it's the same States Exhibit 278YE. This is Jeffrey Williams 240JJ. The times are 2:57:47 to 2:57:58 p.m.
When did Bentley pull up? But you didn't say Bentley's name. Yeah, he was driving the white truck. He's the one who took them to the Sky House. I did it. Okay. So they called Bentley.
Were you able to understand that?
This was two separate times of the interview.
Correct. You're saying that this is not from the McDonald's to the Sky House?
So I don't know where you're going with this. I'm kind of confused. You're showing two different clips.
See, and this is another thing. You don't need to know where he's going with this. Just answer the question. She's trying to play attorney and you're just a witness. Answer the question. And shout out to, oh man, I don't want to say your government name. Shout out to, which name should I say? Dang. Shout out to Miss Minor over on the Cash App. I see you over there dropping the 321. Appreciate you. She said great job. I don't want to give away your government name, so we're gonna keep it moving. Also, Alexandra Copes drops the 5 bomb as well. It says, "Hey, ClassE, can you check out Latham versus 1953 Trust? I'm curious your opinion. It's mind blowing." Ooh, interesting. Yeah, I appreciate you giving me some homework. I will definitely check it out.
Two different contexts.
Well, if you don't remember, that's fine.
I just stated I'm confused because this is 2 separate clips from 2 totally separate parts of the interview.
Sure. But does this help you to help the jury that Mr. Copeland told you that he followed Mr. O.G. Bentley or Kelvin Treadwell to Jeffrey's home from the McDonald's? If it doesn't help, you just say doesn't.
Sir, we all just heard him just say that, but in the context that you're
Answer
putting
the
it
question,
in, it's a little
lady.
confusing because this is 2 separate parts of the interview.
Well, from your knowledge of the interview and this case, is that what Mr. Copeland said?
That's what he just stated on there, yes.
Okay. Then I want to go back to the original question I asked about the interviewing.
Dang. She said this dude is horrible. What is wrong with her?
Allowing Mr. Copeland to speak with Mr. Garlington on a non-recorded line, okay?
I don't believe I stated.
I'm sorry to interrupt, Judge. May we approach briefly, please?
Yes.
And that's where Mr. Adams had enough. Yeah, shout out to Savvy Amir over on the Cash App. I appreciate you. Anthony T said, "You're not confused by the way you are breathing. You are not getting enough oxygen to your brain." Come on, man. All right, let's skip this BS. Y'all want to see Mr. Adams pop off real quick? Hold on. And then we'll skip to the FBI agent. Good morning, Les. Here we go. Shout out to Keith Adams.
Your Honor,
Your Honor, I had about enough.
Address the witness and speak to the witness, and also, quite frankly, to speak to the DA as well. Because of the way everyone is positioned, they're obviously closer to the jury than anybody else. Their microphones are live, and what they say can be picked up on a microphone. A couple of times.
Sorry, who? What the state says at their table?
And what the witness is saying. And there have been at least 3 occasions where the witness has either before or after a question muttered something and said something into the microphone that can be picked up.
Well, I certainly haven't heard it. I can barely hear the answers.
I am not the only one who's heard it. At that last exchange, I heard her say something, I couldn't make out what she said, into the microphone. I guess she was frustrated after the question, and it's being picked up by the microphone. And if I can hear her muttering over here, whatever she's saying can be heard to the jury, and it's just inappropriate. I think it's simple enough to tell her to not make any extraneous comments that can possibly be picked up by the jury. Same thing for the state. And we've actually addressed this before prior to this court's involvement in the case, where there have been times where the state, either out of frustration or who knows why they're doing it, says something, or they're making faces and they're saying something that can be picked up by the microphone, and because they're that close to the jury, I'm sure the jury can hear it too. So I'm just asking, as I've asked before, and as they have been told before, to be mindful of the things that they say and the fact that it can be picked up by the jury.
I can't say that I heard this because I was in the middle of everything, but I've been told by multiple sources that once my cross-examination was finished and Mr. Steele was going to begin, the witness said horrible.
Horrible?
Horrible.
What?
Okay.
And she's sitting right next to the jury.
If the witness and or the state is saying things like that and the jury hears them, I cannot imagine that reflects well on either of them.
The jury doesn't.
Your Honor, I have to say, I would ask that presumptions based on assertions by counsel for opposing for the defendants not be taken as true and then spoken as if they are by this honorable court, because I have no idea what Mr. Adams is talking about. I have not heard any mutterings. I don't know what Mr. Shard is talking about. The state does not have the luxury to sit here and say what it believes someone from the defense is doing without it being cut off quickly. So I'd ask that the court not
We heard it. She wants us to act like we're deaf.
Asserted by counsel for the defendants as we stop these proceedings to address something nobody heard, but apparently Mr. Adams.
Fortunately,
and Mr. Sharp.
Fortunately, this trial is televised.
And Your Honor,
you know what? I'm going to stick with what I said before, which is if a witness wants to present themselves in that way in front of the jury, that is a reflection on that witness, and the jury can evaluate that. So, no, I'm not going to advise her or any other witness one way or, well, depends on what they say. And I didn't actually hear anything, but.
That makes no sense, Judge Whitaker. Like, you can't have Detective Gaither looking over at the jury and be like, y'all see this piece of over here? Can't stand this dude. That's what she's doing.
No, if she wants to make derogatory comments, then that is a poor reflection on her. And the jury, if they heard it, will notice it. And to the extent, I mean, I haven't, was that basically just about this witness?
It was about the witness and about the prosecution. And let's be
Who's
clear.
doing this, or you believe is doing something like this right now?
Yes, and who has done it before. I'm not just saying that. The court has addressed it before because it's happened before. So we're not making this up. She was admonished previously by the prior court to stop doing that.
And you're saying she's doing it again, and it is making faces and or comments.
Making faces, making comments. It can be picked up by the microphone. These mics are live. And as Mr. Shard pointed out, luckily, this trial is being televised and live streamed.
I don't know why that's lucky, because the jury is not going to watch the live stream.
I'm not talking about I'm saying.
I mean, the jury is the one deciding this case.
The person making the complaint about the behavior is the defendants. And I'm in support of what I'm saying. I'm telling you that we are not the only ones who have noticed this. That's all I'm saying.
Okay. Well,
Your Honor, and I would ask, I have asked that the microphone not be close to counsel's table over here behind, so that.
Which microphone are y'all even talking about?
Anyone that can pick up conversation
Just
at
being
the state's
petty.
table, because I'm not trying to have our
No, it shouldn't be. You all, any attorneys ought to be able to talk to each other at their
And that's why Miss Hilton ran up there. She's like, tell him about the microphone. Tell him about the microphone.
table privately without anything being picked up. So I don't know if that means y'all want to turn off your mic, because we're in a big awkward courtroom where nobody can hear anybody sometimes, but then apparently people can hear mutterings under the breath other times. So
we have it off. I've unhooked this, even though it was off.
I sabotaged the microphones.
Anything said at council table heard. Period.
And then I don't know what the situation is with the mics that are on the back table, whether those are off.
No.
Yeah, she hates the media.
What we learned the last time, if that mic is on.
That mic being the podium mic, which has to be on.
So we have to be more conscious. Sometimes the podium mic can pick up our conversations because we're closest to.
Mr. Maurice has something to add, and maybe he knows because he's a media guy.
Y'all not picking up her conversations. You can hear a witness. She's left a couple remarks towards the end of her.
Y'all, I guess because y'all are plugged straight into the system, y'all get to hear way more than we get to through the ambient air.
But we're not picking up any of their conversations.
Okay.
No, they heard it.
Okay.
Okay. Well, I mean, I wish we could hear as well as the live stream apparently can, but. There's nothing that can be done about that. All right, anybody need to use the restroom while we're on a break? Go ahead and do that now. And do we, I mean, it doesn't matter, I guess, but do we think we'll get through this witness today? Are there going to be other defense attorneys with cross? And then is there going to be redirect? I guess we'll just see what happens, but.
To answer your question, at this point, no.
Because they don't care, EJ. He said, why didn't they ask, or she, he or she, I think it's, shout out to EJ. Why didn't they ask her if she said horrible? They don't care. They don't care. So let's get to this last witness and see what was going on here. We've got Mr. Atkins up here talking to our FBI agent. Let's see what he's talking about.
From his apartment.
I believe I stated I don't know.
There we go. Oh, shout out to Shamika says the Georgia Brady list has Love and Hilton on it. Oh man. Doesn't surprise me.
I do. Yep, my name is James, James, last name Bernie, Berni.
Shout out to Agent Bernie. Does the sound okay,
Good
y'all?
afternoon, Agent Bernie. How are you doing?
Hey, good afternoon.
Can you tell the jury where you are employed?
Yep, I'm a special agent with the FBI.
And what in the FBI do
Shout
you
out to
do?
Special Agent Lee.
Yeah, I'm currently assigned to the FBI's CAST team, C-A-S-T.
What is the FBI's
Her voice
CAST
is
team?
horrible.
What does that stand for?
So CAST, which stands for Cellular Analysis Survey Team. It's a team stood up by the FBI in 2009 after the FBI noticed an increased use of cell phone records in criminal trials. So CAST team members like myself specialize in both active and historic cell phone mapping and tracking.
Now, Agent Bernie, taking a step back, how did you get to work, like before joining the Bureau, how did you end up working for the FBI's CAST team? What is your background?
Yeah, so I've been in the Bureau 17 years. Prior to the Bureau, I spent 10 years active duty in the United States Army. The last 6 years of that, I worked at the National Security Agency, or NSA, where my job was to track Department of Defense high-value targets in Iraq and Afghanistan using their communication devices, like cell phones and satellite phones.
Now, when you were in the Army, were you enlisted or officer side?
Well, I did a little bit of both. I was enlisted for several years before college, but I worked at doing intelligence work as an officer after college.
And what is, as they call it, your MOS or position within the Army? What was the branch that you were part of?
Yeah, so I spent, again, 10 years as active duty Army. The first 4 years was as an armor officer doing tanks, tank platoon leader, tank company XO. And then the last 6 years was military intelligence. And that's where I got involved and started working at the National Security.
It was a waste of time.
Is there any relevant training that you utilize in present day in your capacity that you learned in your time as a signals intelligence officer within the United States Army?
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously, I tracked cell phones in combat areas of Iraq and Afghanistan. And we use a lot of the same techniques and basically a lot of the same information about how radio waves move and through space and that kind of stuff. So a lot of similar training back in the day in the Army as well.
Now, Agent Bernie, what is your educational background?
So I have a criminal justice degree from Auburn University in Auburn, Alabama.
When was it, so what year was it that you began working with the Bureau?
I began with the Bureau in 2007.
And I wanted to ask, when did you specifically become a part of the FBI's CAST team specifically? What year?
Yeah, so I started doing cell phone analysis stuff in 2015 and became certified as a member of the FBI CAS team in 2016.
Ew, Auburn.
Can you describe for the jury what is the FBI CAS team's mission for that unit within the Bureau?
Yeah, so we have several pieces of our mission. Our biggest piece is we provide exigent cell phone analysis in big cases. So every Amber Alert, missing kid,
You saying
kidnapping,
the last 10 minutes we're
in the
good?
state of Georgia and parts of Alabama and the panhandle of Florida, I'm involved in all of those. We also do, emergencies for fugitives, those kinds of things, any kind of cell phone analysis pieces. We also have the mission
Yeah,
to
I'm at
help
1.25 right now.
other state, federal law enforcement agencies with cell phone analysis. And that's what I
let me see.
So
I
basically
got you.
review of cell phone records, historical cell phone records, so records in the past, and apply them and analyze them at certain dates and times of interest.
Now,
And y'all are saying, Patrice said, can you speed this guy up? I was already at 1.25. I'll skip ahead for y'all though. Might be a little dry. Let me get this last. Y'all are saying the last 10 minutes. So we'll go 8:40. Okay, we'll come back here. Let's see. Here we go. Oh, hold on a second. Shout out to Heather with the super chat. And she dropped a 20 bomb too. I see you, Heather. Said the insane breathing. Y'all are killing Gaither, man. The insane breathing sounds like she is in outer space in one of those helmets that provided CO2. Mistrial. I do think the judge will have enough of the bull combined with no evidence and call it. Wow. Do y'all agree? I don't know, Heather. I'm not holding my breath. We'll see. Thank you for the super chat
with,
too.
Brian Williams. The 9596 number associated with Jeffrey Williams. The 6080 associated with Demise McMullen. 5726 Quindarius Zachary. A 3904 number also associated with Jeffrey Williams. The 8008 Javaris Bradford number. 3145 number associated with Justin Cobb.
Oh, what's going on here? Hold on a second.
And then a 2643.
Oh, so this is where he's getting to all the phone numbers and how they're connected. You'll give me
145 number associated with Justin Cobb, and then a 2643 associated with Kelvin Treadwell, 8935 associated with Antonio Sledge, a 5991 number associated with Kenneth Copeland, and then an 8553 number just associated with YSL Enterprises.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think there'll be a mistrial.
Your Honor, I'm going to, I have a paper copy of what those physical boards depict that I'm going to mark this as 533 Yankee Kilo. If any defense counsel wants to see this, they may. It encompasses what 533 Yankee Alpha through Juliet contains. Could I proceed real quick? Of course.
Yeah. Yep, these are the phone calls the day Big Nut was shot. You said YouTube didn't notify you? Yeah, that happens sometimes.
Now,
it's all good.
I'm approaching you with what the mark is 533.
Y'all know we go live every weekday.
Flip through that and just look up at me when you are ready.
Yeah, we'll have to interview some of them.
Does that, or what is that?
So again, this is my toll analysis that I conducted on Exhibit 533 Yankee into a more digestible version that's easier as an exhibit.
And is that the same? Or is that identical to the physical boards that are?
Not much.
Standing next to you right now?
They are.
Your Honor, at this time.
Know why we're having issues here. Oh, it's probably because I'm playing it.
The state would tender as a
Super speed.
demonstrative aid.
Here we go.
533 Yankee Kilo into evidence at this time.
Okay, that's admitted.
Thank you, Your Honor. And the state's going to publish 533 Yankee Kilo.
Shout out to Here Comes Drama. Gifting 5 memberships. Thank you.
And Your Honor, I'm also going to place before the jury 533 Yankee Bravo. Agent Bernie, if you need to stand, or are you able to see?
Everybody's abusing the mic in here.
I can.
Agent Bernie, I'm going to give you trusted control of that laser pointer. If you could use that while we're walking through that, that would be greatly appreciated. So, what was the time frame that you used to conduct this toll analysis?
So I was asked to take a look at and put this toll analysis together for times after 7:28, roughly 7:25, I think actually was the exact time, 7:25 and later on January 10th of 2015.
Can't really see it though.
And very briefly, Agent Bernie, I am going to publish what has already been admitted as 2 Yankee.
I think that mic is just too good. Cause Mr. Bernie's up there acting like Gaither.
Again, both.
What is the date, location, and time of 2 Yankee?
If you're talking about the call information, I'm on the middle of the screen. It says date of January 10th, 2015.
And what time was this call received?
Received at 19:22 and 32 seconds.
And what is the location?
The location is 330 McDaniel Street, Southwest Atlanta.
Republishing states 533 Yankee Kilo is the first call on 533 Yankee Bravo.
Dang.
How many minutes after 2 Tango we just read is that call?
So what was that? 7:22, I think, was the call we read on there. So that would be approximately 7 minutes. The first call is at 7:29. So it shows up there as 19:29. Again, that's in the 24-hour military time, subtract 12 hours from 19, and you get 729.
And who is the associated name calling who?
So we see that that's between 6080 and 3904. The 6080 is the calling number, and that is Demise McMullen, or the number associated with Demise McMullen. And then the 3904 is associated to Jeffrey Williams.
Now, can you show the jury where the second call is after that and who is calling who?
Your Honor, may I stand and point? I'm not sure the laser pointer, if they can see it.
There's a laser pointer, and there's also, I don't know which one would
Old
help
school.
you.
I like it.
All right.
So on the total analysis, the number on the left-hand side, you see the phone and then the arrow shooting out. That shows that that's the originating number. So every number on this side here called the number on this side over here. This is the receiving side. So for this very first call, we see the number 6080 place a call at 7:22 p.m. to this 3904. And then this last portion here shows the number of seconds that call was based on review of the records on the outgoing calls phone side.
Whitaker, come on.
And Your Honor, I'm going to ask Deputy Hilton to assist me with his whiteboard.
All right.
If she'd be so kind.
Okay, I think we're almost at the last 10 minutes. Let me see. Y'all don't like Gaither breathing in your ear?
I was going to ask for the first call. Could you, anytime someone's name comes up for the first time, Deputy Hilton, would you mind assisting me in writing who calls who?
Yes.
Miss Hilton is definitely pregnant.
So, Agent Bernie, after, how much time is between the first call and the second call?
So 7:29, again, that call there lasts for approximately 47 seconds. And then the next call is at 7:31. Again, the 6080 calls the 8008 number.
Now,
I was calling somebody at that
the call
time.
immediately after that,
Rico.
who was associated with 3145?
3145 is Justin Cobb.
And how long is that call between 3145 and 8008?
So that's this call here, again, at 7:31, that lasts for 34 seconds.
And then after that, is there another call, but with 0 seconds, between 6080 and 8008?
There it is. Again, at 7:31.
Now, the first call was the phone associated with McMullen calling the phone associated with Defendant Williams. Is that accurate?
That's correct.
Who, after that call, the very first call, who is the next phone number that 3904 calls?
3904 at 7:31. 3904 calls 9596.
And who does 3904 call immediately after that?
So right after that, at 7:33, 3904 calls 2643.
Is that the first time that 2643 shows up in this toll analysis for this time and date?
It is.
And who is
Oh, Lord.
2643 associated with?
Calvin Treadwell.
All right, so everybody called everybody. Yeah, all right. Let me read some super chats. We tried it, y'all. I'm gonna see what Judge Whitaker says, her final instructions before this long weekend, and then we'll get into our last topic. We gotta talk about Diddy today. We had a bunch of super chats come in. Let me see what was the last one? Here we go. Shout out to Y Turner. Y Turner was going wild over there. Since y'all notice, Gaither only breathes hard when Steele and Adams is talking to her. She's good any other time. Baby D syndrome. Oh my God. Shout out to Y Turner. We've got Gerard Cormacon. I'm probably saying that wrong. Dropping the €2. Thank you for that. Also, Here Comes Drama gifted 5 memberships. Wow. Appreciate you, Here Comes Drama. If you got a membership from Here Comes Drama, make sure you say thank you and show some love and let her know you appreciate her. One of the benefits of being a member here on the ClassE Beats YouTube channel is you get early access, instant access to any video we drop on the channel. So make sure y'all look out for that, along with some custom emojis in the chat as well. We'll be dropping the video this afternoon and tomorrow morning, 2 videos a day. And then we're usually dropping a few on the weekend, of course. So shout out to Here Comes Drama. Thank you for that. Y Turner says, Gaither beat him. She had that mic in her mouth. I had to. Oh my God. And then Colleen is in the building as well. Says New Yorker here for many months. Came from Cat Not Williams co-conspirator. Shout out to Cat Not Williams. And want to thank whoever gifted me a ClassE membership. Free Thug. Bye love. Shout out to Colleen. Thank you for the 5 bomb. Thank you for being here too. And shout out to Cat Not Williams. I wonder, is Cat going live today? Most likely not, because I think she's trying to get the heck up out of Florida right now. Let me see. Does anybody know if Cat's going live today? I don't think she has anything scheduled, but either way, y'all make sure you go over there and show some love and support to Cat Not Williams. Excellent content creator. I've learned so much watching her channel as well, and I get over there every chance I get because she has a lot of great content and a lot of great insight too. So y'all go over there, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so you don't miss any time she goes live or anytime she drops a new video, which I don't think she's gonna. I think she says she's not gonna be live either Thursday or tomorrow because of the hurricane. So y'all stay on the lookout for that. We've got FFS is in the building. For fug's sake, says Gaither sounded like she had a stethoscope and put her ear part to the mic, giving us all unwanted ASMR. I feel violated as F. Yeah, you got to clean your ears out after that one. Feel a little bit of moisture in there. Shout out to Angelique is in the building, says good morning from Southern California. Ooh, I know it's beautiful out there right now. I enjoy your perspective, ClassE. Thank you for being here. Who else? We've got, there's Gerard in the building. Said, just wanted to say this reminds me of a QC that got me a fully commando that I ended up doing the. What are you talking about? Shout out to Gerard. Thank you for the super chat. It's crazy. Jason says Kat was also worried about her Wi-Fi dropping out again, so probably not today. Okay. Yeah, no worries. World's End says, thanks always, ClassE, great mods, beautiful fam in this chat. As always, appreciate y'all. Okay, let's get into this last one. We got to talk about Diddy. I know y'all probably don't want to talk about it, but this was an interesting topic because most recently, an artist / we'll get more into her background, but Jaguar Wright has come into the news when it comes to everything that's going down in this Diddy situation. Well, you might be asking, who is Jaguar Wright? We're going to get into that in a second. I've got this amazing article that was written by Marie Claire talking a little bit about Jaguar Wright and her background. And then we're going to go into an interview that she did recently with Piers Morgan, giving a little bit of background into her experiences, not only with being around Diddy and some of the people who were involved in this case, allegedly, that's going on, but some of the things she participated in herself. All right. So who is Jaguar Wright, the woman behind the controversy? Trigger warning. This article discusses assault and trafficking. We're not going to use certain words, so y'all should be good here. So just keep that in mind. As Sean Diddy Combs awaits his federal court date, where he will plead not guilty to the criminal charges of racketeering, trafficking, the silence of those closest to him has been deafening. But there's one voice that has remained vocal about Diddy and his high profile circle for years. Well, other than 50 Cent, obviously, that of American singer Jaguar Wright. While more disturbing details continue to emerge, excuse me, a sneeze got me. While more disturbing details continue to emerge about Sean Diddy Combs and his alleged crimes, as well as the music industry, veterans and celebrities whose attendance at the infamous Diddy parties have attracted renewed public scrutiny, Jaguar Wright has maintained that Sean Diddy Combs' alleged behavior has always been an open secret. But who is Jaguar Wright and why is she making headlines? Well, let's find out. Born in New Jersey in 1977, Jaguar, whose full name is Jaguar Suzette Wright, is an American singer and songwriter whose career began in the late 90s after being discovered by hip hop group The Roots. Shout out to The Roots. But her start in the music industry didn't happen overnight. In an interview with MTV in 2002, Wright noticed that her road to recognition hadn't been easy. I'd been trying to get in for a long time. In 1999, Wright was noticed by Groove Theory's producer Bryce Wilson, who began talking to the singer about joining his group. Around the same time, Wright was booking consistent gigs with an open mic forum that happened to be organized by one of hip hop's biggest groups at the time, The Roots. In the same interview, Wright shared her experience with learning to make her hard decision early in her career. I went with my gut, she said. Bryce was asking me to give away all my publishing and sing his music. The Roots offered me an opportunity to move forward with my own career and do the music I believe in. The singer went on to tour with The Roots and in 2001 performed on the Unplugged on MTV as a backup singer for Jay-Z. Okay, so now we're going to go into this very interesting interview that she does with Piers Morgan. She gives a lot of her background.
Lessening the amount of time that he does or possibly even walking away.
Apologize. A lot of the background into what happened, what she saw, what's going on in the trial right now, and how she thinks everything is connected. We might get into the DJ Vlad section here too, but let's get to Jaguar Wright first. Here we go.
Big names of actual crimes they committed. That
absolutely do not.
Well, Diddy's downfall has sent shockwaves through the entertainment industry and beyond. The blast radius from the uncovering of his alleged offences could yet swallow many more powerful and famous figures. Diddy is accused of creating a criminal enterprise which engaged in sex trafficking, racketeering, kidnapping, bribery and forced labour. His lawyers say he'll fight the charges, but after the testimony you're about to hear, you'll be staggered he avoided the attention of law enforcement for so long. I'll speak to a lawyer, a whistleblower and an insider for an uncensored insight into the showbiz scandal of a generation. And Jaguar, I'm going to start with you. You've been called a whistleblower. You knew Sean Diddy Combs for a long time. You attended a number of his infamous parties. And in 2022, you made headlines after comments where you called him a sex trafficker. And in response, you were called crazy and jealous. Do you feel vindicated by the events of the last few weeks?
Before she answers that question, I want to know y'all's thoughts in the comments in the chat. People who were around Diddy and, as Piers put it, have been to several of his parties and saw things. What responsibility do you think a Jaguar Wright has in this situation? Maybe you don't know yet, so you need to listen to the full interview, but let me know what y'all think in the comments.
No, not at all. Because he's just the beginning. Until him and his cohorts are all held to account publicly and legally, the victims, they're not safe.
How bad was it?
That's what I care about. I care about the victims.
No, I understand. How bad was it, do you think? What was going on?
I'm going to tell you right now that me, as a woman who has been in the industry for over 30 years, I've been performing live since I was 13. My first handler was McKinley Horton. I come to find out 25 years later that a scar that was on his face with a very elaborate story he gave me was put there by a woman who he assaulted. To live through these things and hear your elders in the business, people like Patti LaBelle say, just avoid him, honey. And being taught to be just avoid him, honey. It's not good enough. Not when you live through these things, you're still suffering the PTSD created by all of this, and you're talking to a victim that's 20 years younger than you, and she's telling you the exact same thing that happened to you.
Right, there's been a lot of rumor mill about what has happened in the rap world. A lot of allegations that the misogyny in the lyrics clearly was based on a general misogyny towards women away from the music. And that clearly seems to have been borne out by these charges against Diddy, which if he's found guilty of all this, he's never coming out of prison. How dangerous do you think...
Thank God.
How dangerous do you think he is as a person?
I think he's one of the most dangerous people I've ever met. A lot of people have been questioning, well, she doesn't really know him. She has no knowledge of him. She doesn't have a picture with him. I'm smarter than Claudia Jordan. I would never take a picture with the devil.
All right, well. If you were at several parties, though, I mean, that's something.
Everyone knew he was the devil. He's been the devil for 30 years. He's been covered and protected by not only Clive Davis, but Lucian Grange.
Oh, don't say Lucian's name.
He was selected to be the demon that he is, to keep the culture in line so the industry could continue to rape it for all of its precious jewels.
Sheesh.
We have too many lost. The list of lost is ridiculous, and everyone knows Diddy was selected for this job. He's the Judas.
Do you think that if he's cornered in the way that he's been now, that he may start revealing things about other people?
He has no choice.
Oh man, she said he has no choice. If Diddy starts talking to other people, I saw somebody in the chat mention another guy. I don't think it's gonna be good. And it's seeming like this was the whole reason he was here, to get information on other people. And he's got a lot of video and a lot of information on a lot of people. And that's why everybody's quiet so now. Have y'all noticed? Like, there's 50 Cent, there's Wendy Williams, Jaguar Wright, who else? Suge Knight. There's a handful of people who are talking about this. All of the celebrities are quiet. And from a legal standpoint, obviously they're going to be quiet, but Jay-Z too? Oh, Lord.
Do you think that if he's cornered in the way that he's been now, that he may start revealing things about other people?
He has no choice. His ego and his drug addiction won't allow him to do anything different. Anybody who thinks he's not going to talk is crazy.
Not necessarily.
The simple fact that he's not saying more now only means that the people who have been protecting him all along, who put him in position to be such a horror to the Black community, still find value in him. He's got everybody on tape.
There you go.
They all know it. It's a mess.
For those who were never at these freak-off parties...
She's really dramatic.
What were they like?
See, this is the thing.
I'm
Everything
sorry.
that I'm about to say to you is not my firsthand knowledge. It is my firsthand witness account experience. I was a sex worker. I was a dominatrix before I.
Hold on, she said what now?
I was a sex worker. I was a dominatrix before I got my record deal. That's how I know how the dark world and the sex world and the entertainment world run hand in hand.
Okay.
That's why the movie Blink Twice is so important. Salute to Zoe Kravitz. The sex workers that I have worked with throughout the years and continue to work with even to this day have worn hidden cameras. I have my own tapes. I've seen what they do. The ritualistic behaviors, the drugging.
The ritualistic behaviors. Isn't she a dominatrix? Like, do y'all know what that means? That alone just goes to show you she done some things and seen some things herself. Now, it's interesting. Oh, this is going to be controversial. I don't care. I'm going to say it anyway. It's always interesting when you hear from people like this who were all up in it doing crazy things and then they want to point the finger at somebody else. It's like a lot of people, when a police officer comes out and they say something, and tries to appear as the victim, people are like,
Stop the cap.
I mean, come on, officer. I'm sorry, but I can't really have sympathy for you. And then you've got a dominatrix sex worker. We're supposed to. Yeah, I don't know. Something's not adding up here. She said she was doing that before she signed her deal. I'm sorry. Y'all can say whatever you want to, but I find it hard to take the testimony of somebody like this serious when they be all up in it.
Putting
That's
girls
just me,
in
though.
Suitcases.
No, because she's the one talking
Dumping
world's
them
end.
in alleyways. It's
Hard to listen to.
horrifying. And it's all done under the protection of this is going to be paid off. There's another NDA. This is going to be, it's terrible.
It seems to have been something that people.
She was beating people and tying them
knew
up.
about. That people were simply too scared
knows.
to talk about.
Everyone knows. And every person that's sitting there trying to act surprised knows very well. The whole point of this, like Cat Williams said when he sat with Shay Shay earlier
I've never
this
heard
year,
her music.
the whole
Renegade.
point of
I'll
this
check it out, though.
is for them in a coordinated effort to pretend like none of it is real for the public's perception. But everyone knows what's going on, and it's been going on for years. It's been going on before Diddy. See, people keep looking at him like he's the Sputnik that came out of nowhere. This is someone who was designed to be what he is.
As a dominatrix, wouldn't you have to have someone sign NDAs too? I'm gonna let her talk, but it's just, again, it's hard to. Okay.
We got to stop making ditties. And if we're going to do that, then we got to go back. We got to go back to even further the mentors of these people. Because Diddy was taught how to do what he does systematically, and Clyde Davis has been his greatest teacher.
She was 17 when she was a dominatrix.
Clyde Davis is not here to respond to that. Jaguar,
Guess they on vacation.
If this goes to court, Jaguar, do you think that the world is going to be shocked by
you're good.
What comes out?
The world's in.
Oh, absolutely. I just don't know why they are. It's been happening in front of everyone's faces for decades. For decades.
How many victims?
What's the difference between me and Judy Garland? Social media.
How many victims?
There was none for her.
How many victims potentially do you think there could be?
Thousands.
She's right about that.
I've talked to hundreds that I deal with still myself. I think.
What does she mean by that? That's an interesting wording. I talk to hundreds that I deal with.
Victims potentially, do you think there could be?
Thousands. I've talked to hundreds
something
that
ain't
I
right
deal
with
with
this one.
still myself. I think people should really look into that more.
Well, Loa, I mean, we get into consent a lot when we talk about this Diddy trial. And if y'all go back and watch some of the videos I've done on this in the past, the consent issue from a legal standpoint is very, very, very blurry. And Jaguar, I mean, she could get in trouble herself because consent can be removed at any time. It can be removed before, can be removed during, and it can be removed after. And I'm not going to go into detail about that, but consent is, it's just one of those things. Now, I mean, we're not talking about children. I think that goes without saying. We're talking about adults, right? So Loa says, counterpoint though, BDSM is entirely consensual and legal. What Diddy has been accused of is not. I mean, you can consensual and legal. If you go to a Diddy party and you're made aware you have to do certain things to get into the party or be around those people. If you want to make the argument, say, oh, well, I felt pressure because I wanted to get into the music industry. That's fine. But you still went to the party. I mean, dang. Are there some instances where maybe something was done against somebody's knowledge? From what I'm seeing, yeah, definitely. But I'm talking about in general, a lot of the people involved and many of the lawsuits I covered several months ago. It's clear that they gave consent. It wasn't these weird situations where they were handed a drink and then they passed out. They gave consent. And then later on, they didn't like it and they felt guilty about it. And now they're pressing charges. From what we've seen so far. Now, there's a lot of instances where that's not the case, but I think it's a case by case basis in this instance.
I am friends with Albie Shore. I love him. I love his children. I knew Kim. We used to all hang out together at the Kit Kat Club back in the mid-90s when Diddy was first starting his reign. I watched that whole thing happen. And everything that Albert has been through, every attempt on his life that has been ignored by the authorities, it all leads back to Diddy, and everyone knows it. The wiretapping of the phones, putting AirTag on children during visits, these are normal practices that these people do.
Did AirTags just come out like 2 years ago?
I really appreciate you joining me. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me. And thank you for caring.
I do care. Thank you very much.
Now, somebody in the chat said Diddy's innocent. All right. Chill out on that. And my theory is, and I'll still stand by this, is that Diddy was set on a mission and the people and the authorities and the 3-letter organizations that he was sent on a mission for, in a sense, gave him somewhat of an idea that he had immunity to certain things. Then the power got to his head. He started doing things he wasn't supposed to with that power. And then, as we know, we're in the situation we're in. But yeah, Diddy, he's done a lot of bad, a lot of dirty, evil stuff. And I think he's going to be held accountable. And in this case with Jaguar, right, though, I'm not seeing the victim side of it. But maybe there's more to it. Y'all have to let me know in the comments in the chat what y'all think. And I'm going to read a couple more super chats in here as well. And I appreciate y'all having the conversation. One thing I love about this channel and about the chat and about the people who are here is we can have a respectful conversation and disagreements without yelling at each other or having to be right. And I appreciate y'all and thank y'all for that, because I think it makes the show more enjoyable. Let me get these super chats in here. We've got, let me see. We've got Black Butterflies in the building said Jag stay jagging. Classy Danes behind her, I think. Ooh, okay. I'm gonna have to look into that. And I haven't checked out any of her music either, so I gotta listen to some of her music. Y Turner says Jag has been telling us for years. 52. They tried to silence, blackballed her many times. Excuse me. Ray J has tried to silence her about that interview, allegedly. Ooh, I have to look into that. And shout out to the major sponsor of today's show. Y'all see her over there. The awesome, amazing Amy in the building dropped a 50 bomb. No comment. Just showing love. I appreciate it, Amy. Shout out to Amy. Thank you for all that you do. I appreciate you. I got a whole lot to thank you for. So thank you, Amy. And then we got Y Turner in here. With the 10 bomb says Jag was there. She is the singing lady in Song Cry on Jay-Z's record. She has she was at 3 parties, studios, etc. And she saved some of the girls that were trafficked. She was grooming also though. I mean, yeah, I'm gonna let the feds do their thing on that one. It's interesting. Oh yeah, okay. And Alexandra Cope says Latham versus the 1953 trust. Look at the names. Jag is right. She helped victims. Okay. Yeah, I pulled it up and I'm going to do some more research into that and get back to you. And then also Y Turner is in the building. Says Jag saved some of the girls that reached out. Shout out to Jag. Man, that's dope. Yeah. Shout out to Jag. But also, you know, I don't know all the information, so. Oh, you know what? Y'all hold on one second. I will be right back. Thank you, brother. You're good, man. Thank you. All right, here we go. Sorry about that. But yeah, I'd be interested to see what else comes out about this. I don't know if Jag is possibly going to be indicted or maybe she made some type of deal. I don't know, because it's always interesting to hear and see people who are so close to the situation that start speaking out like this when things go down. So it's like, okay, well, you're willing to go out and talk like this. Who else is she maybe talking to? I don't know. Yeah, I got some stuff delivered. Now, I wish it was DoorDash. Man, y'all, somebody send me some DoorDash, man. Also, we got Joanne Christina in here. Says, why was Gaither not considered a hostile witness? I hope Whitaker goes back and listens to hear all those snarky comments and heavy breathing. Well, you can only be deemed or considered a hostile witness by the side that calls you. So if she was giving the prosecution issues and not answering questions the right way, then they could say, Judge, can I just treat the witness as hostile? Because I brought them here to answer questions. They're not answering my question. And the judge could say, sure. But on the other side, the defense, they just have to do the best they can and pray that the witness is going to answer their questions, to be honest. What else are y'all saying in here? Rented Dad's in the building. Said, ClassE, why they didn't do this to Hugh Hefner so the Playboy Mansion was not a hoe house? Don't know. Maybe they just ran a tighter ship there, and I don't know. We don't know what Hugh did. He's dead and gone. Rest in peace. So, I mean, maybe there's something there. Maybe there isn't anything there, but maybe he just did a better job of getting consent. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised. And there has been things that have tried to come out after he died. I believe, I don't want to go down this rabbit hole, but I believe someone tried, was it Hugh Hefner or am I thinking of somebody else? Tried to sue him or his estate for stuff that went on at the Playboy Mansion. So yeah, I don't know. Consent is a weird thing. If y'all look up the laws and see some of the cases when it comes to consent, it'll scare you, especially the guys out there. Guys, I'm telling you, just be very, 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 very careful with who you're around, who you're alone with. because in a lot of these cases, you're not going to get the benefit of the doubt. So I know most of the time that goes without saying, but I know somebody needs to hear it. And then we've got shout out to Wendy in the building, dropping the 10 bomb, says, not sure what Jaguar knows, but there is a difference between consensual grown people, sex workers, and the R word. Drugging underage kids and adults does seem to be bolstering a bit at times. Yeah, so the kids, I mean, we don't have to have the conversation about the kids, right? I'm going to leave that out there. If one kid was done wrong and had their innocence affected in any way, I mean, that person needs to go in front of the firing squad, in my opinion. So I won't get into that. But when it comes to the adults, I don't know. Maybe I just think differently. But you just have to be careful about the situations you put yourself in. I'll just leave it at that. And shout out to Wendy for the 10 bomb. Let me see what else are y'all saying. I think I got most of the comments in here. Again, we are going to be back and court is going to be in session tomorrow. So y'all make sure you're here. If you haven't yet, like the video, subscribe to the channel. We're going to be live streaming the trial live tomorrow morning at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So it's going to be a good time. I'll be good to be back in court with y'all, breaking things down live and in real time. In the meantime, check out some of the videos I posted this morning. Yesterday, I had a great compilation video I posted yesterday, and a lot of y'all had fun watching that one. We got another video that will be dropping this afternoon and tomorrow morning. So hope y'all have a great rest of your day. Thank you to everyone who dropped the super chats. Big shout out to Amy for sponsoring the show. And I will see y'all in the morning. All right, you know what to do. Have a great rest of your day. Keep growing, keep pushing, keep it classy. We gone. Peace.